DBZ Universe. It was a warm afternoon on Mount Paozu. The birds were singing, and the breeze in the air was so calming at the house of the most powerful family in Universe 7. The sons were their training father and son in an energetic manner transformed into SS2. A year had already passed since the defeat of Cell, and the death of Milk due to a hereditary illness from her mother at birth which led her to die young, leaving behind a sad son and a husband. Although they never had the best of relationships, would miss her, and as her last words she asked him to keep moving forward and take care of Gohan. This death left the young son very sad, and his father, who swore to himself that he would be a better father spending more time with his firstborn. So in that year both set out on a journey across the planet, getting to know places, and above all training. So in a short time Goku reached phase 2 of the Super Saiyan, and together with his son learned to control this new transformation. Returning to the present and the training, both contenders exchanged punches and kicks in the air, at high speed, dodging each other, until a simultaneous blow made them separate and take distance to prepare their best attacks. Goku places his hands behind him to prepare his most known technique, taught by the old hermit of the turtles, Roshi, while his son puts his hands in front of his head in an X shape to prepare his attack. Kamehameha Masenko, they said in unison, firing a burst of sky blue energy, and another golden one that collided with each other, being at the same level of power, with neither of them willing to back down. In the end both techniques exploded against each other, sending both flying against the mountains, crashing into them, and creating gigantic craters. Jijiji. Gohan's power grows more every day. I cannot fall behind, said Goku, coming out of the rubble with some minor injuries, but feeling proud of his son's progress. Thanks, Dad, said the young son, who appeared in front of his father with the suit of his first friend and mentor Piccolo destroyed. Well, how about after a long day of training we go for a couple of fish, and then a hot bath, said the older son with the smile that characterizes him. Yes, let's go, exclaimed his son, flying towards their home. Already at night, while the young son prepared the fire for the fish and the bath, he could not help but remember that in just 1 year so many things happened. The defeat of the androids, the death of his mother, and the fact that he, by spending so much time with his father, something he did not do so often, made him develop the taste for fighting that characterizes his warrior race. Despite the absence of his mother, he could not help but be happy to be with his father. Son, here is dinner, said Goku, coming out of the lake with 2 fish the size of cargo trucks in his hands. For a normal person, that could feed 100 people easily, but when it comes to 2 hungry Saiyans, that was just a light dinner. Let's eat, they both said with enthusiasm, and in less time than it takes Vegeta to say damn insect, the fish disappeared, leaving only their bones. After that dinner, father and son can be seen in a tub heated by the fire, both in a state of relaxation, remembering the arduous training and how to continue it until the patriarch decides to talk about a special topic. Gohan, there is something I have to tell you and ask you, said the older son without removing his smile. Sure, Dad. What is it you want to tell me? Asked Gohan. Well, I was thinking that the Earth is no longer in danger, and although we were not here, all our friends can protect it, and that perhaps in other places they need us. I think I understand where you are going, father, said Gohan, analyzing what his progenitor was saying. Well, and here comes my question. Would you like to embark on an adventure with your father to another world? Said the black-haired one, smiling, waiting for his son's response. Sure, Dad. It sounds interesting. I will be able to know other places and people to protect. But how do we go? Easy with the Dragon Balls. We will prepare everything necessary this month for our trip. It will be fun, said the son with so much enthusiasm that he almost threw the tub to the floor. Well then, let's begin the preparations, said his son with the same enthusiasm, although neither of them knew that they would change the lives of many people and their own. In the Bleach universe, we find ourselves in Karakura City, a place where the spirits of the deceased seek to find a Shinigami to be transported to the Soul Society to avoid being consumed, or in worse cases become hollows, which were creatures formed from souls, whose chains of destiny were destroyed. The place was always watched over by the Soul Reapers, and at this instant we focus on 2 figures that were lying on a tall building looking at the sky while thinking about their personal things. On one side could be found a woman with abundant orange hair, white skin, gray eyes, a mole near her lips, and some very large breasts, appearing to be about 28 years old. She wears the typical black kimono of the Shinigamis, accompanied by her sword and a ribbon with the word lieutenant on it. We refer to Rangaku Matsumoto, the lieutenant of Captain Toshiro Hitsugaya, who was thinking about things in her life. I wonder why I am still single. It is not like I care much, but I wonder if there will be someone who loves me not just for my mere physical form. thought the young woman between closing her eyes. And on the opposite side to her was a girl of possibly 11 years with the same uniform and weapon, with the difference that this one had short black hair and purple eyes that, despite her serious look, was quite pretty. We refer to Rukia Kuchiki, who was assigned as the lieutenant's apprentice to test her experience in the field. She had similar thoughts to those of the lieutenant, only that these were added to remembering her past in the lower districts, until being part of one of the noble families of the Soul Society. Well, Rukia, it is time to continue patrolling, said Matsumoto, getting up. Agreed, Lieutenant, said the little Shinigami in a respectful manner. DBZ Universe. 1 month later, the agreed time passed, and the Sun family was at Capsule Corp saying goodbye to their friends and promising to visit them someday. Goku kept in his orange Doji a box with capsules, where his house and other objects were courtesy of his childhood best friend Bulma. For his part, Gohan was saying goodbye to his mentor Piccolo, while he gave him several heavy suits similar to his so that he would not neglect his training, and on top of all this he carried with him the sacred staff that belonged to his father. Come Shenlong, said Goku to the sky, activating the 7 spheres, that when releasing their energy to the sky, the dragon god appeared ready to fulfill their wishes. You have awakened me from my sleep. I will grant you 2 wishes. Shenlong, do you know another dimension that needs mine and my son's help? Asked the black-haired one. The dragon's eyes shone, indicating that he did know the answer. There is a dimension where, although the beings there are not so strong physically, they have extraordinary abilities, where in the future they will need help, said the powerful dragon. How good. Then I wish that you teleport me and my son to that place, said the sun, excited. That wish is a little difficult. I will need you to give me some of your power to transfer you from this dimension to the other. Okay, ready Gohan, said Goku, pointing at the dragon with his open palm. Yes, said the young Saiyan, giving energy to the dragon, whose eyes shone, indicating that it had been successful. Your wish has been fulfilled. Goodbye. With that said, while the Sun family was vanishing, the dragon also did so, and then the 7 spheres scattered throughout the world, leaving only the friends of the pure race Saiyan. Bleach Universe. Kirakira. At night, in the middle of an alley away from the streets, a man with black spiky hair and combat Doji, together with his son who wore a purple Doji with a white cape, looked analytically at their new world. This must be the dimension that Shenlong sent us to. It sure looks different from our world, said Goku, rising to the sky with Gohan to better analyze the big city, when something takes them out of their concentration. Did you feel that, father? Said Gohan with a serious face. Yes, 2 presences are weakening and around many evil presences. We have to help. Hold on. Gohan accepted his father's request and put his hand on the sword so that his father would take 2 fingers to his forehead, using the teleportation technique to arrive at the place. In another part, Lieutenant Matsumoto and young Rukia were found injured, surrounded by a dozen hollows that managed to ambush them and attack them with their guard down, leading them to this situation. It seems this is our end. I feel terrible that this young girl cannot find her special person just like me, thought the depressed lieutenant while raising her sword to not die without putting up a fight. Great was her surprise when out of nowhere a man of about 30 years with strange hair and combat suit, accompanied by a boy of almost 12 years also dressed for the occasion, appeared behind them. So these were the evil presences we felt, said the older son seriously. Yes, and they are the presences that were weakening, said Gohan, looking at the Shinigamis. Who are they? Why can they see us? Why do they not emit spiritual pressure? Were some of the many questions that the 2 were asking themselves, who were even more shocked to see how both released a white aura that made the hollows disperse due to the potency of the air. The Saiyans took 6 hollows each, starting a battle that, without them knowing it, the creatures already had lost. Goku with a punch sent one flying very far, cracking its mask, while the rest were crushed. One was disintegrated with a key sphere, and the rest, through pure force of kicks and punches, lost their masks and were crushed. Normally I am merciful with my enemies, but the evil they emanate reminds me a lot of Frieza's. With the young Gohan it was faster, because he made use of more key spheres, but a hollow also went flying through the air as a consequence of a kick. This spectacle left the present ones shocked, who could not understand how some complete strangers managed to finish off so many hollows as if it were a child's game. Rukia was the most surprised, but the lieutenant thought that what they did was similar to what the Quincy's did years ago, causing an imbalance in the order of things. But she could not help but think that they could be of great help. Besides, that although she would not admit it at that moment, the man in the orange Doji seemed very attractive to her. It seems that is done, although 2 are still missing. Are you girls okay? Asked Goku, together with his son, offering help to the Shinigamis. Besides a sun smile, But what beautiful smiles, thought both with a slight blush. Excuse us, but we have not introduced ourselves, said Rukia, already composed from what happened. Oh, that's right. Hello, I am Goku, said the black-haired one, offering his hand to the orange-haired one. Rangaku Matsumoto. A pleasure, said the lieutenant, accepting the hand in an educated and calm manner. I am Gohan. A pleasure, said, doing the same with the black-haired one. Rukia Kuchiki. Also a pleasure. That moment is interrupted when the hollows that were thrown into the air fell to the ground, forming craters, and very dizzy, which alerted the Saiyans again. Two are still missing, said Goku, ready to go, but was stopped by a hand that was put on his shoulder. Wait, you cannot kill them just like that. That causes instability that could put the order of things in danger. Then how do we defeat it without provoking that? Asked Gohan. The lieutenant thought for a moment and reached a conclusion. What she would do could bring her problems with the Soul Society, but if they did not find out, nothing would happen to her nor to her apprentice, to whom she whispered her idea. Are you sure? We barely know them, said Rukia, insecure. Call it female intuition. They seem to be good people. To which, after saying that, both draw their Zampacutus. Listen. Both warriors looked questioningly at why the women they saved were pointing at their chests with those strange swords that emitted a signature of their own power. To defeat the hollows in the correct way, both of you must become Shinigamis. By doing so, you will have to take our place until we recover our powers, said firmly the lieutenant, and it was noticeable that she would not accept a no for an answer. I don't know, Gohan. What do you think? Asked Goku. Well, it could be a good first experience. Besides, we would be trying to learn the abilities of this world. It will be interesting, said Gohan in a fun and wise manner. What do you mean of this world? Thought Rukia, who would have to ask them many questions. Rangaku placed her sword near Goku's chest, while Rukia did the same with Gohan. When they stabbed their swords and let them take their power, they were astonished to see that they were left with no power at all, and in their jigaes, while a monstrous spiritual pressure invaded the environment, accompanied by two columns of golden light to the sky. This increase in power was such that both Captain Commander Yamamoto and the king of Hueco Mundo, Baragan, adding all beings from both worlds, felt that energy, remaining shocked, and with the same question. To whom or who does this terrifying power belong? Back in the city, when the light dissipated, a Goku and Gohan could be seen from behind, wearing the clothes of the Shinigamis, each carrying their respective Zanpakuto. Gohan went directly towards one of the fallen hollows, and with a cut with a giant two-handed sword killed the creature without problems, while his father did the same, only using a larger sword with several holes in the lower part. This was the first day of the Saiyans in this new world. What awaits them? Discover it in the next episode. Once father and son defeated the last hollows, both looked at each other, impressed by their new appearances and the weapons they had. Wow, Dad, I never expected to see you in clothes other than your orange daji, said Gohan, examining the black kimono that his father wore, as well as the gigantic sword. And you can say that again, son. I hope I can keep using my daji. I do not mind these clothes, but I miss the original, said Goku with his carefree tone, and smiling as always. That sword looks heavy, said the young son, looking at his father's weapon. It is lighter than you think, and I think that also applies to your sword, said Goku, analyzing his son's weapon. What do we do now, Dad? Said Gohan. The first thing will be to find a place to rest. Once established, we will train this new energy, and we will not neglect our other training, said the older son, raising his finger to emphasize what he was saying. Excuse us, said a female voice behind them. When turning around, they saw Rangaku and Rukia with other clothes that were not the Shinigami uniforms, but more casual clothes. The lieutenant wore a white shirt with pink, but that showed her belly and a bit of her breasts, a yellow short and white shoes, while her apprentice wore a simple white kimono. You guys do not have anywhere to stay, right? Asked the lieutenant, interested in the new Shinigamis. Well, no. We only arrived at this place less than 20 minutes ago, said Goku with his smile, making the girl blush again. Why do I blush? I barely know him? Thought the lieutenant, trying to recover her posture until grr was the noise that was heard throughout the place, making the girls jump, who had different reactions. Rangaku got behind Goku because of the surprise, and Rukia looked analytically to see where the noise came from. What was that? More hollows? Asked the little Shinigami, looking everywhere until the noise sounded again, and she turned to see the Saiyans, who had nervous laughs. Jijiji. Sorry, it is that we are starving to death, said the older son without stopping laughing from embarrassment. That answer made Rukia fall to the ground in anime style, while the lieutenant found the situation very funny. Since when does a stomach sound like a hungry dragon? These guys are not normal, thought the younger Shinigami from the ground. Well, returning to the topic. We know a place where you can stay. Besides, you can eat. If you are willing to answer some questions and commit to working as substitute Shinigami until we recover our powers, said the lieutenant. I did not understand the last part well, but I accept, said Goku, tilting his head confused, which surprised the woman because this man with a beastly power was very innocent and naive. Good. Since everything is settled, we will have to walk fast. It is already night. The place is far, and I do not even want to think about what people would do to a beautiful girl like me, and a little girl, said Matsumoto in a childish tone, drawing a sweat drop from Gohan and Rukia. No problem. We can go flying, and you tell us where to go, said Gohan, proposing an easy solution. You are barely Shinigami to master flight, said Rukia, trying not to be rude. But we can fly. Look, said Goku, taking Rangaku in a bridal manner, which made her heart accelerate, for having the Saiyan's face so close to hers. He is cute, thought she, but she was taken out of her thoughts when she noticed that the sun began to levitate little by little until reaching the heights, something that surprised her, because she did not think that someone who became a soul reaper so recently could do that. How did he do it? Asked a surprised Rukia, who turned to see Gohan. This is thanks to Ki, which is the vital energy of all living beings that allows doing many things, and flying is one of them. Amazing, was all she could say. Well, my dad can train you if you want to be stronger than you already are, but for now, let's go to that place you mentioned. Please get on, said Gohan, offering his back. The little Shinigami, although she doubted for a second, obeyed, and climbed on his back, holding her arms around the boy's neck. She felt strange to be so close to this young man who barely knew his name. They took no time to be at the same height as the others. Good. Where do we go? Asked Goku, looking at the lieutenant. Over there. It is the store of a friend that we go to in the human world, said Matsumoto, pointing in a direction. Okay, hold on tight, said the son, turning on his ki aura together with his son, shooting off towards the place where a very peculiar person awaited them. In another place, a person was looking at the sky, thinking about the gigantic spiritual pressure that he felt a while ago, which also kept the people who live in his store alert. I have a hunch that I am about to discover the owners of those presences, said a man with a tired and serious face, who appeared to be about 45 years old, with blonde hair covered by a hat with green and white stripes. He wore a complete Japanese suit of green color along with a black coat. This man was Kisuke Urahara, ex-captain of the Soul Society. While holding his cane, he felt that someone was approaching. In less than a blink, in his courtyard appeared a man and a boy with the clothes of a Shinigami, carrying people that he knew very well, so the only thing that occurred to him was to take his playful posture. Well, but if it is my best clients Rangaku and Rukia, what brings you here? Do you want to introduce me to your boyfriends? Said Urahara in a fun manner, opening his fan and laughing, at which the first to react was Rukia, giving him a kick in the face. Do not say nonsense. We just met them and they are only substitute Shinigami, said Rukia with a vein on her forehead. I see. But why? Asked the man of the hat curiously. The hollows ambushed us and they saved us. They do not use spiritual power, but so they would not destroy them, we gave them our powers to purify them. I understand, and I suspect that you two have a story to tell, said the ex-captain, looking seriously at the Saiyans behind his fan. Well, I know you have many questions, and I will tell you after eating, but it will be something hard to believe our story, said Goku, rubbing his stomach nervously, and thinking about how they would react upon knowing that they are extraterrestrials from another dimension. Good. Come into my store. Please eat all you want. My treat as long as you keep your promise, said the ex-captain, without knowing that he made the worst mistake in the world, which was inviting the food to two hungry Saiyans. A couple of minutes later, there were different reactions from those present inside the store. Tessay, the store assistant, together with his son Jinta, had their jaws to the floor, seeing mountains of more than 80 plates of rice, while Yuru did not seem impressed. Urahara cried comically, swearing that he would never ever again say eat all you want to the sons. Matsumoto laughed at everyone's reaction, although she did not show it. She was impressed by what she saw, but she was seen more concentrated, drinking sake, enough to be lucid and not say nonsense, and Rukia only had her eyes very wide from the impression. What size are their stomachs? They seem like two bottomless barrels, thought the little Rukia. But what good food. Thanks Tessay-san and Urahara-san, said Goku, rubbing his stomach, satisfied, as well as his son. Good. Since you are finished, it is time for you to tell us where you are from. Humans cannot send flying and disintegrate hollows with such ease, said Rukia with a serious look, while everyone prepared to listen to what the Saiyans had to say. Well, it is complicated, but here it goes, said Goku, thus beginning to tell them that when he was a baby his parents sent him to Earth, because his home planet was going to be destroyed by the evil Frieza. Afterwards he told how he met his grandfather Gohan, and that after his death he embarked on the adventure of searching for the 7 Dragon Balls that allowed wishes, going through his encounters with Yamcha, Oolong, the Pilaf gang, the training with Master Roshi, the Red Ribbon Army, until reaching his fight with Piccolo Daimao, the training with Kami-sama, and his fight against the Son of the Demon, and his engagement with Milk. After telling that, everyone had to process a lot of information. Warrior races conquering worlds, emperors of evil, spheres that grant wishes, and guys who would face many captains and lieutenants, was something hard to believe, but could do nothing but accept it, because if it were a lie they would not have defeated those hollows and would not have released power that was felt in all corners of the world. Urahara showed interest in knowing more about that race for his investigations. Rukia and the lieutenant are impressed by that, but if you looked closely at the latter, she had an annoyed face expressing jealousy upon knowing of the Saiyan's engagement. For a long time there was peace until the Saiyan continued with his story now, telling how his brother arrived on Earth and kidnapped Gohan to persuade him to help him conquer a planet. But with Piccolo's help and his sacrifice they defeated Raditz. Wait a moment, if you died, how is it that you are? Whoa, right, the spheres, said Rangaku, remembering that they used the spheres to revive Krillin. After that interruption, he continued telling how he traveled the Snake Way to train with King Kai, and the arrival of the Saiyans to Earth. Now Rukia could not believe that somewhat ridiculous training was so effective, while the lieutenant was also equally impressed. Not even the infernal training of Captain Kenpachi Zaraki was so effective. Continuing with the story, he told them that they defeated the invaders, but that many of their friends died, so they had to go to Kami-sama's home planet to find other spheres and revive them. At this point Gohan began to recount the events on planet Namek, and that Emperor Frieza was also searching for the spheres to be immortal. The fights of Vegeta, and his confrontation against the Ginyu forces, and how these were crushed and humiliated by Goku until the body change with Captain Ginyu, where in the end this one ended up in the body of a frog, to which Jinta found very funny the fate of that poor devil. Gohan continued telling how they faced Frieza going through each one of his forms, until the point of the fight, where the Spirit Bomb was launched against the Demon of Cold, but he survived and killed Krillin, a classic, unleashing Goku's anger, transforming for the first time into SS1, the greatest fear of the Emperor. Now Goku told how his fight against him was, and how he could escape from the planet and of his return to Earth. A pause after that, everyone processed the new information, understanding that these people would humiliate in combat all the captains if they were not careful, and that their powers were on another scale. Could you transform? Asked Jiraiya with intrigue. Jijiji, maybe tomorrow when I train with these new powers, said the son, happily, leaving the ex-captain satisfied. Then he began to tell them about Trunks' warning from the future about the androids, and how they trained for their arrival until the appearance of Dr. Gero and Android 19. However, the heart disease attacked Goku, making him lose, and being saved by Vegeta, who also reached SS1, defeating 19. But Dr. Gero escaped and released 17 and 18, causing the Z warriors to have to resort to the time chamber, where one outside was a year inside. Afterwards he mentioned about the appearance of Cell, the bio-android that by absorbing the androids reached his perfect form. While Goku recounted the preparations for the Cell tournament, Urahara could not help but remember the Vizards, when he mentioned how the androids were created. Lastly, it was told how Gohan reached SS2, and that after a while he reacted, stopping humiliating Cell to disintegrate him completely. Afterwards he commented on the death of Milk from an illness, his journey around the world training with his son until the arrival to this world. Wow, if it were not for the fact that I am a mad scientist I would not believe you, but nothing of what you tell me seems like a lie, said the ex-captain, still shocked by what they told him. Well, any questions? Said Goku to know if everything was clear. I do, but they are 2 doubts that I have to ask Urahara. How is it possible that your souls did not separate from your bodies when we gave you our powers, and why could they see us? Asked Rukia, remembering that she did not see any body lying around when they transformed. For your second question, it is possible that by being beings from another world the laws of our world do not apply to them. And with the first question, that is a good question, and I have a hypothesis, but for that I need you to take off the Shinigami suits, said the ex-captain very calmly. What, are you crazy? How do you ask them that in front of us? Asked an embarrassed Rukia by the idea. Look at it this way. If I am right nothing will happen, and if I am wrong you will have a good view for a while, said the man of the hat in a fun manner, provoking blushes in the girls for that idea. In the head of both they were imagining the bodies of both, because they had the opportunity to feel their muscles when they carried them to the store. Neither said anything and only gave permission to verify Urahara's theory. Both Saiyans, somewhat confused, agreed to the request, taking off the black kimonos, revealing that under these were their traditional combat clothes. Goku's orange daji, Gohan's purple daji. As I thought, they did not become Shinigamis. Their bodies absorbed all the energy, allowing to awaken their undiscovered spiritual powers. But by being different beings from humans they could not convert, explained the ex-captain. What does that mean? Asked the lieutenant, wanting to know the answer. In few words, they have the powers of a Shinigami, without being it completely. So their weapons are visible to humans. That is a problem. They have to carry them always. You never know when a hollow will attack, said Rukia. No problem. I will take care of that. But you ladies will have to be near them for when there is hollow activity, besides teaching them how to use the Ryatsu and their Zanpakutis, said Urahara intelligently. Well, in that case, it will be a pleasure to teach you, Mr. Goku, everything I know until I recover, said Rangaku happily, because she wanted to get to know the Saiyan better. Just call me Goku, Rangaku-chan, said innocently the Saiyan to the woman who was very attached to him. Hey, more respect for the lieutenant, scolded Rukia. Do not worry, Rukia-chan, it does not bother me, but you will also have to train and teach Gohan what you know, said the lieutenant without intention of neglecting her apprentice. It will be a pleasure to train with you, Rukia-chan. I hope we get along well, said Gohan with a smile, blushing the little Shinigami again upon seeing that smile. While this was happening, Urahara went to talk to a black cat with yellow eyes that answers to the name of Uruchi. If we are going to watch them, it will be better to send them to a place where we can always see them, and that they also manage to have a low profile, said the cat seriously. I already have it solved. I will enroll young Gohan in an academy, as well as Rukia. The lieutenant and Goku I will put as teachers. Now I only have to know what he is good at, said the ex-captain. By his form, put him in the position of gym teacher, or something similar, responded the cat based on looking at the toned body of the Saiyan, which made the cat feel strange. After that chat, Urahara said that everything was solved, and that only a home was missing where they could live, to which he offered his store, but they denied, saying, Does it bother you if we use the patio you have at the entrance? Asked innocently Goku. No problem. But are you going to sleep in the street? Asked surprised the man of the hat. Jijiji. Just wait and see, said this time Gohan, going with his father to the patio, being followed by everyone in the store until reaching the courtyard. Already in the courtyard, Goku took out of his daji the box of capsules that Bulma gave him. Taking one out, he threw it towards the empty terrain of the place, and in an explosion of smoke came out the house of Mount Paozu. Those must be the capsules that he mentioned in his story, thought everyone watching. How from something so small came out something so big. Well, thanks for the food and for accepting that we stay here. Tomorrow we will train early in case you want to join, said Goku, entering together with his son to the house, leaving all those present still surprised. Wait, we do not have anywhere to sleep, said Matsumoto, thinking of a way to get to know more about our hero besides watching him so that he complies with his new duty. Well, the house is quite big. If you want you can also live here, said the older son, letting the Shinigamis pass, who accepted the offer. Now what awaits the sons and the Shinigamis in their work? Discover it in the next episode. Up to here the chapter of this week. Please, if you read these stories, do not hesitate to leave me your opinions and advice that are always helpful. Without more to say, until next time, do not forget to comment, as that helps. Urahara's store courtyard. It was approximately 6 in the morning in Karakura City, where no one had yet woken up to go to school or work this Saturday, except for the Sun family, who was inside one of Bulma's gravity chambers, training arduously, taking advantage that none of them had to work or study until Urahara had everything ready on Monday. While they trained, the girls were still asleep inside the house, who would soon wake up to begin teaching them everything a Shinigami should know. 2 hours later, inside the Sun's house, Rukia was waking up from a beautiful dream she had with Chappie the rabbit to see how her teacher and lieutenant prepared large amounts of food for breakfast. Surely 97% of all that is for them, thought she, remembering the deadly appetite of the Saiyans. While rubbing her eyes, she approaches Matsumoto, still in her yellow pajamas with black stripes, while the aforementioned woman had a pink apron put on under a shirt and gray shorts that she used to sleep. Rukia-chan, here is your breakfast. Have you seen Goku and Gohan? Asked the lieutenant, looking everywhere. Since I got up I have not seen them, but according to what I remember from last night, is that they were going to train early, responded Rukia, taking an orange juice. Surely they will be in the patio. said Rangaku, leaving the house together with her apprentice in search of the suns, taking the surprise that now in the patio there was a white dome with the symbol of Capsule Corp. Lieutenant, what is that thing? Asked Rukia, impressed seeing such structure. I do not know, but I think they are in their inside. We can ask them while we eat, responded Matsumoto, approaching what seemed like a door to enter if it were not for a warning sign. Danger. Do not enter when in use, because you could end up completely crushed. Obeying the warning, the lieutenant knocked on the door, telling the Saiyans that breakfast is ready, who turned off the machine and came out of it, leaving the Shinigamis speechless. From the dome came out Goku and his son with their dodges torn from the training, leaving the girls' faces red as tomatoes upon seeing them. My God, are those muscles real? Thought Rangaku, unable to divert her gaze and unable to articulate coherent words. For her part, Rukia choked on the juice from the surprise, but she was able to divert her gaze so they would not see her blushing face, but a part of her did want to see the younger son. Whoa. Hello girls. What do you need? We just finished training. Ito, well, the breakfast is ready, managed to say the lieutenant after composing herself from the surprise, but her face was still somewhat blushed. Whoa. You did not have to bother Rangaku-chan, said Goku with an innocent smile. No problem. It is my way of thanking you for letting us stay in your house, said the lieutenant happily, although it is also because we will have to live with them until we recover, besides training them, thought Rukia to herself. Already in the house, everyone began to have breakfast. The Saiyans ate like a pack of hungry wolves, but at the same time talked with the Shinigamis to get to know them better. Rukia looked surprised how her teacher was so open with the older son, until she even laughed at the experiences he told. This happy scene made the little girl happy, remembering what happened 2 years before being assigned as an apprentice. I am happy for Lieutenant Rangaku. I had not seen her so happy since Captain Ichimaru rejected her, thought she, remembering that she saw that moment by pure chance, and that after that the lieutenant drank sake almost every day until Captain Hitsugaya encouraged her. After that brutal massacre of foods, everyone prepared to find a good training place. Both told the sons to use the uniforms of the Shinigamis to go more unnoticed by other Soul Reapers. Goku, not very convinced, accepted, and Gohan had no problems. While they wore those clothes Rukia put on the school uniform that they would go to, which consisted of a white shirt with a red bow, gray skirt and black footwear, while the lieutenant only used the same black shirt from last night with long pants to exercise and red sneakers. When they went out, they ran into Urahara outside. We are going to train. Do you need anything, Kisuke? Asked the lieutenant. Yes. Regarding that, since the Shinigamis still must not find out about their existence, I was going to suggest using the training zone under my store. No one will feel their Ryatsu there, said calmly the ex-captain. That sounds good. Keep us informed about any hollow activity while we are down there, said Rukia. After a while they were guided towards the basement of the store, which in few words the place looked like a huge desert full of rocks, and no one in the distance, only the suns and the Shinigamis. This place reminds me of the first time I fought Vegeta years ago, thought Goku, remembering his rival and friend. Good. Let's start with basic information so that afterwards you can progress on your own. First, your Zampacutus are not simple weapons, but they are extensions of your souls. These contain a lot of spiritual power that is released in their forms called Shike and Benkei. The first release is when you manage to know the name of your weapons. Each sword has a different power depending on its user, instructed Rangaku to the Saiyans, who understood a little of what she was saying. And the Benkei, what is it? Asked Gohan. It is when a Shinigami reached the maximum compression of their Zampacutus. Only the captains manage to have them because it requires a lot of training to have one. Although any Reaper that strives can achieve it, responded Rukia to the question. Good. What do you want to learn first? We can teach you the principles of Hado, Bakudo, or Kido, which are spells that we Shinigamis can do. Although we are not specialists in everything, or release your Zampacutus, said the lieutenant, waiting for the Saiyan's decision. I think I want to do that of releasing my sword first. The other sounds a little boring, said Goku, scratching the back of his neck, embarrassed. Since Dad will do that, I want to try that of the spells, said Gohan calmly. In that case, Rukia, go with that side and teach him what you know, while I teach Goku how to release his sword, said Matsumoto calmly. Agreed. Follow me, said Rukia, taking the younger son to another part of the place. With Gohan and Rukia, already the two being at a good distance, they stood in a zone where there were many rocks to use as shooting targets. Good. Pay attention because I cannot repeat it. A Hado is an attack spell, which will be more powerful if you recite the complete chant. Otherwise, just by naming it you can use it, although with less power. Look. Rukia began to concentrate spiritual energy in her hand, beginning to form a small red sphere, and shouted, Hado 31 Shakahao. After that, the sphere was fired against a rock, partially destroying it. Good. Now try it, said her, moving aside a bit to see what the boy could do. Let's see. I concentrate my spiritual energy, and say Hado 31 Shakahao. After saying that, the sun launched a red sphere bigger, completely destroying one of the rocks, and damaging others. Incredible. You learn fast, and that Hado had the potency of one with chant. Well, I put a little key in it, said Gohan, scratching the back of his neck. If I remember correctly, you said it was the energy of all living beings, said Rukia. Yes, that is so. Everyone deep down has ki. From animals, plants, until I think that the hollows also have it, said the sun. Do you think that after we finish you can teach me? Asked her with a little enthusiasm. Sure. Besides, I think my dad was going to propose the same to Rangaku-san. We will train you in the afternoon. Thanks. I want to be stronger to show my brother that I am not weak, said she, hoping that the sun's training would allow her to be at the same level as brother Byakuya. With Goku and Rangaku, both were sitting on the floor as if they were about to meditate. Rangaku could only look at the enormous weapon that the older son had, because she had never seen such a large Zanpakuto. But she decided that it was time to break the silence. Good. Many instructors make it sound difficult to release the swords, but it is not. It is easy. You just have to concentrate on feeling your Zanpakuto. With that achieved, enter your mental space, and manage to make it tell you its name. That is the first step to achieve a shike, instructed the lieutenant. I understand. It is very easy, said Goku, smiling, and putting the sword on his legs, preparing to concentrate, until the lieutenant asks him, Goku, do you think I can release that which you call ki? Asked somewhat insecure. Sure, Rangaku-chan. Everyone can do it, and it is not so difficult. Just concentrate and try to channel your vital energy in your hands through meditation. But careful. It is not the same as Ryatsu, explained Goku to the woman who would try that while he went to communicate with his sword. After giving instructions, each one decided to keep silent while meditating in their own trainings. Goku, doing what the lieutenant said, concentrated, and could feel the power of his weapon, and in a short time entered his mental space that was represented as Kami-sama's floating temple, but completely desolate, except for a silhouette standing near the entrance. In it could be seen a man whose facial features could not be distinguished, because they were covered by a metallic mask with similarity to a skeleton, and a hood of a gray tunic that reached almost to the legs. He wore brown pants and an 18th century black shirt. Despite his intimidating appearance, Goku could feel that he was not evil, so he just introduced himself. Hello, I am Goku, said he with his typical smile of always. I know who you are, but do you know who I am? Asked the masked one. By what Rangaku-chan told me you must be the physical form of my Zanpakuto. Yes, I am that, but you do not know who I am. Well, if it is for that I am here, to know you, said Goku in a carefree manner. Definitely you are a very rare bearer, not very intelligent and who knows what else, but you have a good heart and desires to protect those who matter to you. So from now on, the guy approached directly towards Goku at a slow and firm pace. When he was almost in front of him, he offered his hand to the Saiyan, who shook it in sign of friendship. I want you to remember this name. In the outside world, Rangaku continued concentrated on doing what the sun told her, and little by little a yellow ki sphere formed in her hands, remaining satisfied of being able to do it on the first attempt and happy because she could make her apprentice and teacher feel happy at the same time. While she dissolved the sphere, Goku opened his eyes slowly to then take his sword. The lieutenant wanted to tell him something, but she realized that that serious face indicated that he had achieved in a short time what takes many Shinigamis a long time. Raising his sword in front well extended, he said, Release. Walked her sword, and with that said an aura of blue Ryatsu covered him completely until revealing him with his new weapon. The sword had shrunk a bit, but was still large. At the end of the handle opened what seemed to be the mouth of a demonic skeleton, and from this extended the silver blade of great size, which had in the middle ramifications as if there was fire in them, while releasing a shike in less than 24 hours. That is a record, said the voice of Urahara that arrived with them to tell them something. What is it, Kisuk? Have hollows appeared? Asked the lieutenant with a serious face. Yes, one with the form of a bee is in the city causing problems. Luckily at this hour no one transits that street. Then do not tell the boys anything. We will take care of it while they train, said Rangaku, getting up, and being followed by Goku. Already leaving the basement and being at the entrance, Goku stopped in his tracks, confusing the lieutenant and the ex-captain. What happens, Goku? Asked the lieutenant. Urahara-san, In what direction is the hollow? Asked the Saiyan. He just pointed towards the city, and Goku put his fingers on his forehead until he captured the creature's ki. I found it. Rangaku-chan, hold on to me, said the son. The woman, a bit blushed, was surprised by the request, but still accepted, touching his back. And in less than a second both disappeared, leaving the ex-captain surprised and shocked by what had just happened. But how? They disappeared, and that was not a flash step, said Urahara, thinking about what it could have been. Due to that, Goku did not tell him about the teleportation from planet Yardrat. In Karakura City, in the streets of the big city could be seen how a girl with black hair, tied in pigtails, and with a white dress ran from a very hungry hollow with the form of a bee. The girl just ran until she crashed against someone on her way, and could only see a man with spiky hair, and dressed in black, with a large sword behind him, together with a woman with a surprised face. For what happened? This is the hollow that Urahara mentioned, said Goku, putting a serious face upon seeing the creature. Girl, behind me. He will take care of killing it, said the lieutenant, hugging the girl who did not seem to want to let go of her. The hollow just growled, because they had interrupted him when he was about to consume a soul. Goku did not pay attention to him and just took out his sword, which still had its shike activated. The red lines of it began to shine, and when the Saiyan launched a cut to nothing, a powerful cutting wind blast was fired that split the creature in half, that disappearing after receiving that impact. Now Rangaku was impressed by the power that shike had, and was imagining how powerful a Bankei could be in the hands of beings that can already destroy planets as if nothing. Leaving those thoughts, she released the girl, and told her that soon she would go to a better place to then address Goku. Well, Goku, another of the things you have to do as a Shinigami is to do a kanso to the lost souls called plus, like this girl. It is very easy to do, just touch her with the tip of the handle of the sword, and it is done, said Rangaku, explaining to him in detail. I did not understand you much, but I think I know what to do, said he, drawing a sweat drop from the lieutenant. He is so cute, but very naive. But it does not bother me. That makes him look very adorable, thought she with a small laugh. Goku, doing what she explained, touched the girl with the tip of the handle of Walker's sword, leaving her a mark on the forehead, so that after that she disappeared, indicating that the kanso was a success. While that was easy, in any case, let's return to continue training, said Goku, deactivating his shike, and preparing to teleport until the lieutenant takes him by the arm, confusing him. Wait, better let's walk in case we come across any plus. Besides, you told me your story. Now I will do the same, said she with some blush, because she found the perfect moment to get to know him better, and know if what she felt when being near him was love. Okay, Rangaku-chan. For you I will do it, said with a smile, cheering up the lieutenant. Yes, you are the best, said she, hugging him surprisingly, but upon realizing she separated from him, somewhat embarrassed. Sorry, Goku. No problem. I like that hug, said with the same smile, and after that both went chatting, while being followed by a black cat, very interested in what happened. With Gohan and Rukia, both continued training, and did not give importance to the energy spike they felt, because they suspected that it was Goku testing the spiritual energy. The younger Saiyan seemed to learn quickly all the spells that the little Shinigami could do, although he did not need them. After Gohan destroyed all the rocks in the place, they took a break to get to know each other, and by the way teach the functioning of ki. Gohan told that his mother was very strict and forced him to study since childhood, although he preferred to train with his father due to his Saiyan blood. But Milk suppressed that instinct that after fighting with Cell he recovered. Author's note: every person is unhappy studying something by force, but they do it to not hurt the feelings of others. Rukia felt pity for the boy and his mother, but to put things on the same level, she told him her hard past in the lower districts of the Suridi, how she strived to get high as a Shinigami, and her adoption by the Kuchiki family, and although she strived, her brother by a Kuaya was always indifferent to her. After that long moment of chat, Gohan began with the girl's formation to dominate ki. She was enthusiastic inside, although she showed a serious face. She wanted to be strong, and besides get to know this boy who for some reason seemed so cute and interesting to her. Using the same explanation of his father, the little Shinigami managed to form a ki sphere in the time it took Goku and Rangaku to arrive again, who seemed very happy. This scene made Rukia put a mischievous face, saying, "Wow, Lieutenant, I did not know that you already had your first date," said she, making fun of her teacher, who got embarrassed and responded, "And I see that you enjoy very much Gohan's company," said she, counterattacking, making Rukia blush. Well, girls, there is still a lot until lunch, so in that time we are going to train you to improve your ki until you recover your own power. I have a doubt. Those hermit seeds that you mentioned, cannot they return our Reiatsu? Asked Rukia. I do not know if it will return your spiritual power, but while you do not have it, it will be easier for you to adapt to ki, said Goku, giving a satisfactory answer. During the rest of the day, Goku taught the lieutenant the use of ki, so that she could enhance her physical strength, and Gohan taught the same to Rukia. Kirakira Academy. Monday. Well, this will be our first day here. I hope everything goes well, said the younger Saiyan, preparing for academic life. What awaits our heroes? Goku managed to release his shike. The girls are already falling in love with them. That will be known in the next chapter.